Can you see yourself getting married?
100,000,000%. I can see myself having little teddies running around, and I don't know.
Good, the world will be in trouble. We don't want that. We have to call them something else.
I don't know. Ask the trolls that message me and tell me that I'm not allowed to follow XYZ person.
Right.
There's so many instances where apparently I'm not allowed to do certain things. And from my point of view, it's, we only have one life, so live it. So I'm never ever going to take negative responses or outside of friends, family, my loved ones. I'm never going to take opinions outside of that because, to be blunt, they don't know me.
But it depends how she says it though.
It does, to be fair. That's another thing. Like if there's a bit of an accent there, a bit of a twang, then obviously I might be lost as well.
And those eyes are
then the eyes are really, really glowing. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm lost now.
Hey, how are you, Teddy?
I can't tell you. I don't even want to... Sidney, don't do that again, bro. What do you mean, hey, how are you, Teddy, bro? What is that, bro? What is that? What is that? Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us again on Teddy Talks. I am Teddy Soares, and I'm joined by none other than my brother,
Sidney Soares.
And we are excited again to be talking about... What are we talking about today, Sidney?
Let's catch up a little bit. We've just come back from Australia.
Oh, yes. Finally back from Australia.
It's nice to be back in the UK.
We're going to lie, it's cold though.
It's very cold. It's very cold. As soon as I came off that flight, I opened up my suitcase. I put my overcoat on, my scarf, my hat. I said,
wrapped up.
I said, fuck this, I'm going back.
No, I'm not going to lie. So I jumped off the plane, got my suitcase, transitioned into walking out of the airport, and I literally walked straight back inside, opened my suitcase, got changed. It was too cold. I layered up and made sure that I was nice and warm, because if not, I feel like the jet lag, the cold, everything would have just got on top of me. So I am glad to be back, even though that sounds super negative.
I'm a bit jealous though. You had a pit stop on the way, didn't you? Yeah.
I did. And it was Bangkok. I had the 8-hour layover. So instead of staying in the airport, got to see the sights of Bangkok. It was beautiful. And it actually made me feel like I should have stayed even longer in Bangkok. Bangkok was... Yeah, it was a vibe.
Good,
and I'll
good.
Be back.
I mean, one of the things that I wanted to talk about before we get into all the good stuff was some of the learnings and some of the things that we saw out in Australia, especially like the cultural differences between the UK and Australia. Me personally, I really love the fact that Australians in general are very, very laid back people. Did you get that energy when you were there? Like, I felt like, because they're able to go to the beach on the weekends, experience sunny weather all the time, probably because they're getting paid a lot more than they would do here in the UK. People are just generally a lot happier.
Yeah, you say that about them being paid a lot more. I think even if they were paid, what I learned about being in Australia, even if they were paid nothing, they were still happy. Like, it was just the environment and the lifestyle they were living. It was like, it doesn't really matter about money. Money isn't even a question to them. It's just more about enjoying the surroundings, being present. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of alcohol, a lot of alcohol out in Australia. It was a lot.
Did you drink a lot?
Did I drink a lot?
I know the truth.
Did I drink a lot?
I'm waiting for you to say. Did you?
Me?
Did you?
No, I did. It was a blowout for me. Australia was. It was a time for me to really just enjoy, be present, especially because we hadn't seen our good friend in a very long time. So that moment with him to just really let loose, let my hair down was amazing.
Shout out to our boy Ignatius.
Ignatius, yeah, he's someone that obviously for us, for those of you who don't really know much about him, when we were growing up as children, Mommy always had a plate for him. Like, he was always like a brother from another mother almost. And Mommy would always call him a son. And he even refers to Mommy as Mommy. So it's like the close connection with him to spend Christmas, New Year's, whilst for the first time in God knows how many years, like we didn't have a typical family Christmas at home. It was more of mommy went to Guinea.
Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, and obviously we went to Australia. So it was
Carlos
fantastic.
went to Barbados.
Carlos went to Barbados, yes, even though I know secretly he wanted to be in Australia, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's get into our quote though, because I feel like we have this tendency to just forget. And then it's like, oh, sugar, we need to talk about the quote. So what quote have you got today?
What quote have I got today? Well, there's been a few that I was looking at just before, we were thinking about what do we want to talk about today, and I'm really feeling like talking about relationships. And when I was looking at, what quote would speak to that, and I'll get to why I want to speak about relationships. I came across this quote and it touched me. Love doesn't make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile.
Ooh.
That was by Franklin P. Jones.
Okay. And why did that resonate with you? What hit home? You look like you're about to cry, I'll be honest. You look quite emotional with that one, bro.
Get the tissues out. Get the tissues out. Yeah, it's the whiskey is touching me. Yeah.
I want to start by you're single as well, right?
I'm single. I'm single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's
why
why
you're trying to make me feel bad about.
No,
my
I don't
situation?
know. Maybe that's why you look like you're a little bit emotional when you said the quote.
No. I say that with my chest out. Yeah, send those applications still. No, the reason why I liked that was because, I think about the love I have with my family and my close friends. And there's been really special moments where they've done something for me. And I'm like, wow, this is love. This is what I'd like to experience when I'm in a loving relationship with someone who I'd want to call my wife. And I'll give you a prime example. When we went to Santorini, and for the first time we saw one of our close friends get married.
Shout out to Farouk.
And during that time, whilst we were there, obviously Santorini is a beautiful place. You see all the white buildings. It's sunny. You're in Greece. Food is nice, and like aesthetically, the place is so beautiful. It just lifts your energy up. But one of the things that really touched me then was I remember when Farouk was giving his speech, and he was talking about all of the different things that make him him. And when he was talking about his close ones, his friends, us, obviously I don't want to admit this, but fuck it, I'll do it. It brought tears to my eyes. And in that moment, that was powerful love, I felt. And when I look at this quote and, I relate to you, I think about all the moments in my life where I feel loved. I feel loved, and also I've given love in different ways. So yeah, that's why it was meaningful to me. But for you, what does love mean to Teddy?
Well, I've got a very I wouldn't say similar quote, but a quote that's aligned to relationships as well. So that it might highlight.
You will answer my question.
I might ask you what that question is again. But so my quote is, it might make sense of your question in a roundabout way. So it's like falling in love with someone who makes you glad to be different. And
Why did you go for that one?
Because why I said it was similar to your quote, I think it was more similar to the way that you felt in terms of a connection with your quote. So the quote stood out to me because, in a nutshell, I do feel different. The way that I dress, the way that my mind frame is, and there's certain situations in my life where I'm like, I would deal with this very differently to how most people may deal with things. And the people closest to me, friends, family, and some partners in some instances of my life have really connected with who I am. And I would never, ever change that for anyone. So the partner that I would want to be with moving forward in terms of relationships and just friends and people that I meet moving forward is really not necessarily having to understand it, but it's just, having the appreciation for Eddie and who he is as a person. And the circles that we keep has always been very, very small, and we don't tend to judge each other. We always, in good moments, we really celebrate it. And in bad moments, we're always there for each other as a sounding board. And very similar to your reference to Santorini, that wedding was last year was a special moment because as much as Farouk and Leah were in their moment, I almost felt as though I was living vicariously through them, because that love that they had and the happiness that you could see in them was something that, I hadn't really seen from, our peers more than our family. Obviously, our family, they have unconditional love, our aunties, uncles, mum, dad, they have that unconditional love that you can see. It's undefeated. And for the first time, when I was a spectator, really in the wedding, I could see that. I could see that from someone that's really close to us from a friendship point of view. So,
can you see yourself getting married?
100,000,000%. I can see myself having little teddies running around, and I don't know.
Good, the world will be in trouble. We don't want that. We have to call them something else. We don't put the spirit of teddies in little people, bro.
What's wrong with teddies, bro? I thought you're supposed to love how different the teddies are, bro.
Come on, I love you for you, but I don't know about the little ones. We have to put different spirits in them.
Because what? Because I was a mess.
You were a mess, bro. You were a mess.
Yeah, I was difficult growing up. But don't hate on that, bro. You're supposed to be the uncle. What's going on,
no,
bro?
I'll still give them pounded jam when they need it.
But I hope that answered your question, though, because I feel like in a roundabout way, that quote just resonated, because I appreciate that. I know that based off the way that people view me, he's different. He doesn't dress like every Tom, Dick and Harry, and my personality isn't really like every Tom, Dick and Harry. So it's like,
no, definitely. I love the way you answered that, because I do see you as someone who's different. I think the world does as well. Like, we only have to speak to one of the highlights of your reality TV career, and one of the things that people remember about you is that you stay really calm and measured in high pressured situations, regardless if you have someone screaming at you like a headless chicken. You're not going to be screaming back, and for obvious reasons. One, that's just who you are, and two, as a black man, if you're screaming at someone else on TV, you're probably going to be the one that's going to be shunned, right? And I know that if I was in your shoes, things probably may have been different. I don't know whether I would have been as calm as you. And I think why a lot of people respect you is because they understand they probably don't have that in them too. So yeah, you are different, and I love you for that. The world loves you for that, and carry on being you, carry on wearing your weird stuff. Because
Hey. Bro, first you insulted my child that isn't even here. Now you're insulting my what's going on, Sid?
It's okay. You've received a lot of compliments in the last 24 hours. Sometimes we need to bring you down. Yeah, exactly.
Don't bring me back down, bro.
No, but on a serious note, bro, you are a walking example of how to be the modern gentleman.
Still trying though. I've got to say, like, even though I really, really appreciate the flowers you've just given me, but I'm still figuring that out, because no one's perfect at the end of the day, and I will never sit here and pretend to be perfect. At the end of the day, there's so many things that I still want to work on. There's so many things that I want to develop, so that when I do come to that moment where I do hopefully meet the one, even though I thought I've met many of the ones, because I'm a hopeless romantic. But I think I really love the fact that this topic surrounds relationships, because right now I do feel like where we are, there's so many moving pieces to the idea of what a relationship should look like, especially with social media. Like, social media has a picture of perfect relationships everywhere. Like, you can't look at one couple and think, oh, that couple looks like they're struggling from a social media point of view. No, unless there's a press release of, I don't know, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian moving mad in some sort of restaurant or whatever, like, you're not gonna see the negative parts of most relationships that are prominent on social media.
What are those parts? Because you would have a lot of people from the outside saying that, Teddy, you should be like this because this is what we expect of you in a relationship. For example, I don't want to be too specific because it locks you into a specific relationship, and I don't want to do that. We know how people go around.
We've had more than one relationship.
We've had more than one relationship. But what the point I'm trying to get at is, people have opinions about how you should be in a relationship, and they have
the calm,
or you're not always going to be calm in every situation.
Yeah, it's impossible.
If someone's put a gun to your head, of course your heart's going to start racing, and you're.
I reckon I'll be quite cool with that situation.
No, I don't think you would.
I think I'll be quite solid. No, I probably would panic. Yeah, please don't put a gun to my head. Someone's going to try and test me and be like, "Well, you said you'll be calm," and then I'm pissing my pants. But I think I get where you're coming from. So I think there's a lot of opinions of the way that I should be, like, from any person that I might even follow. For example, on Instagram, I'm not allowed to follow anyone on Instagram, apparently, according
why
to
are you not allowed to follow?
I don't know. Ask the trolls that message me and tell me that I'm not allowed to follow XYZ person.
Right.
But like, there's so many instances where apparently I'm not allowed to do certain things. And from my point of view, it's, we only have one life, so live it. So I'm never ever gonna take negative responses, or outside of the friends, family, my loved ones, I'm never going to take opinions outside of that, because, to be blunt, they don't know me. So even though there may be press, there might be, again, like I say, trolls on social media that suggest that I should be with XYZ person, or someone isn't quite good enough for me. As much as they don't know me, they don't know the person that I'm either speaking to or the person that I'm trying to get to know. So it's all about, at this point, my instincts, my experience, the trials and tribulations I've been through in my previous relationships that guide me through my next relationship without being too scarred.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I don't believe in is going into a relationship and everybody has baggage, but putting that baggage onto the partner that you're trying to develop a relationship with. It's like, if I met a new friend, better example, if I'm in a if I'm in a new work environment, I'm not gonna paint my new boss with the same brush as my old boss if my old boss was a twat or a dick or whatever. So I would always go into a situation with an open mind, but I will remember the lessons that I learned from my previous situation. So where I'm at right now, you know, I'm like I said earlier on, I'm a hopeless romantic. So the trip that we had in Australia, I met so many lovely people. There's one that stands out.
Are we talking about females?
Huh?
You know what I said. I said, are we talking about females?
I met so many males and females, but in terms of the relationship sense, females.
Of course.
So I met.
See, but you don't like men in terms of romantic.
Bro, where are we going with this,
no,
bro?
but I'm just clarifying because
it was episode 3 or whatever, bro.
I know,
I'm
but
straight.
I know, but we always have to get things.
Okay, let's clarify this. So in terms of the relationship sense, the females that I met, yes, there was some. There's some people that you meet, and when I'm meeting certain people, it's about the energy, it's about the connection, and always the connection with the eyes.
So what was it about these eyes?
Connection with the eyes.
What was it about these eyes?
What? Sidney, Soares, they're trying to get you in trouble with it.
Oh, you said there's something there, though.
What was it about the eyes? I don't know. Good eye contact.
Okay,
no. Yeah. To be honest, in terms of just the whole package, like it was
whole package, everything was good. That's good. So what makes up? No, this is good though. You're touching on things that make up the ideal partner. What is the whole package? Because as well, you said there's a lot of parts.
I made a cheeky comment, and it was just me joking around. Yeah. You know what I'm like?
I know.
And I was just so I said, "Oh wow, you're actually really smart." And she was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" Like as if to say, like, I'm not just beauty, I'm brains as well. But as much as that was a tongue in cheek, it was a bit of a joke. It was still very. It was very real for me because I do appreciate someone that's got that sense of intelligence, not just intelligence from an educational point of view, but street smarts. But also they've been through a few experiences. They've traveled a bit. They've, you know, I'm appreciating a bit more than just one layer of an individual. It's more of like going through the layers and really peeling that back and understanding these what makes that person who they are. Not to say that I ignored that before, but I didn't place a high enough value on what that means to me beyond the beauty.
What did you value? What were you placing your value on before? Do you remember?
It's hard to say because, I tend to run off instincts when I'm going through my relationships. And I think back then, it's a weird one. I wanted fiery, and I wanted someone that could just put me in my place and all these kind of things. But it's why am I after someone that needs to put? Well, I don't need to be put in my place. I don't need a mum. Like I don't need someone that's kind of doing that. Don't get me wrong, I still really appreciate a fiery person to a certain extent.
It reminds me of one of our favorite memes is that, you know, you don't want peace, you want war always.
Yeah, and it's a weird one because it's almost as if the relationships that I've been in, bar my first relationship, it was that fiery element of, you know, going back and forth with each other, and it's strange because I didn't grow up that way. You know, I didn't grow up with our parents being at each other's neck all the time, at least not in front of us. It was always an element of peace when we come home. It's like we need to respect each other as much as we need to respect mom and dad.
With the caveat that we have heard
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So there's no illusion that when you're in a relationship, you don't argue. There is that. Like there definitely is that.
What makes you, what at the time?
I can't wait to ask you some questions.
Why did you like fire?
Why did I like fire?
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I think it's more of just a feeling of not wanting to walk all over someone. But I don't think a relationship means that it's one or the other. I think there can be imbalance, and that comes with respect. One of our closest friends always said with
restraint comes respect.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that quote because as much as something might piss me off or piss her off, you still have to respect each other. Because at the end of the day, I think when you're raising a child or you're raising you're raising a family, you don't want the household to always, me personally, I don't want my household to just always be in turmoil and always be, people screaming and shouting at each other. I want an element of peace. Don't get me wrong. Children, there's always going to be the element of, what's going on? And there's going to be unpredictable things that happen. Not that I've had a child, but I can go off how I was as a child, and I was a mess. Like I wasn't a well-behaved child. So
if we put fieriness on a scale, we know that you don't want the extreme end. You want someone who can keep you on your toes?
Of course. Someone, I think the word I'm after is someone that can just be authentically honest, but with a tone of respect.
Do you think there was respect lacking sometimes in your previous relationships? You have to be honest.
You have to be honest. Yeah. But sometimes I'll say from both sides, though. From both sides. Like, not to say that I can't sit here and say I was a complete saint. But, I mean, come on. Like, I think there still needs to be a level of treating your partner as a queen and vice versa. We're always going to make mistakes. We're not going to be perfect every single time. That's the beauty of getting to know each other and getting to know what pisses each other off, what makes each other happy, how you make her smile, how she makes you smile, and how you piss her off, and the limits and all those kind of things. That's the beauty of a relationship. But I don't think that when things are good, there's an utmost level of respect. When things are bad, the respect goes out the window. I think the respect still needs to be there. So I think that's what I would ideally, unless I'm living in a pipe dream, I would ideally want in my relationships moving forward. And that's what I have with my friends. We don't always see eye to eye, you as my brother, but I don't think I would ever disrespect you in a way that would mean that we're screaming and shouting and, almost coming to blows. And vice versa with our friendship groups. Sometimes we've
come to blows once when we were younger, though. A couple of times when we were younger.
Yeah. But those are those are very. I'm talking about when we're an adult.
I won as well.
Come on, bro. You're still as small as you were when you were younger. So I don't understand that.
All right. We'll leave that conversation for now. We know the truth.
But even in our friendship circles, we've been through certain traumas, but that doesn't mean that we have disrespected each other to the point that we can no longer speak to each other for a number of days. Like we still. We're able to meet in the middle, compromise if a compromise needs to be had, or if someone's genuinely wrong, we can understand that. And I think that is a testament to the fact that most of our relationships are 10 years plus. I don't think I can recall one of our friendship groups that is less than 10 years. They're predominantly a long-term relationship.
Why is it that certain relationships can't get that far? Why is it that they fail at the 1 year mark, the 2 year mark, 3 year mark? And you can never have that understanding of, let's both meet in the middle. I come with my baggage, you come with your baggage. I help you understand where I'm coming from. You help me understand where I'm coming from. And I'm willing to listen, you're willing to listen. Why is it that some people, in the words of our late dad, are blockheads?
I mean, I'm not a relationship guru, so I can't answer that in totality, just because obviously there's so many moving parts to why people break up in the first place. But I think from my own personal situations, I think just things sometimes just don't work out. You get to a point where you kind of figure out that you're not happy. And ultimately, all I ever want for any of my relationships, even when we break up, is for them to be happy. If we're in a relationship and either one of us isn't happy, again, it's a matter of respect. Like, if I can see that she's not happy, I'm gonna respect that. And as much as it hurts for me to walk away, I'll walk away. And vice versa, it's the same thing. Obviously, it's not as easy as that, but that's where my mind is at. And that's why I'm always able to keep calm in really argumentative situations. Like, why, if I've 9 times out of 10, if I've done something wrong in the relationship, I'm really empathetic to trying to figure it out and really trying to work on how that doesn't happen again. You know, I'll give
What
you an
are times that
example.
you've lost it though?
I'll give you an example. PA happened in Brighton. TikTok breaks out. I don't do any more PAs, because at the end of the day, it's like, I know that it makes partner at the time feel uncomfortable. So I cut it. I'm not going to do it anymore. It doesn't matter about the financial implications. It doesn't matter about any of that. I just know it's not making you happy, and I want to make you happy. That's my ultimate goal. I don't want to see you sad, so I cut it. Many people will message me, when are you going to do a PA? When are you blah, blah, blah. The agencies message me, PA, we got you booked for this. It's not making my partner happy. I'm cutting it. That's how bullish I am. You'll know what I was like in a relationship. Like, most times, you guys will go out on weekends. You ask me to go out, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna chill at home on the weekend, or I'll go to mommy's or whatever, or I'll be at the partner's parents' house. So it's, I really do value the happiness that I give to my partner in any relationship. I think that's a trait of mine. I'm a people pleaser. In sales, it's the same thing. When I was in sales, I want to please my client. I don't want to, even from a customer service point of view, if anything was to go wrong, I'm going the extra mile to make sure that things are fixed. I'm not just sitting on my seat and counting my commission. I'm trying to make sure that things are.
It's a double-edged sword, though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
So how do you protect yourself from yourself?
I haven't figured that one out yet, because for the most part, I've come out on the other side realizing that, oh shit, I'm damaged through this whole thing that hasn't worked out for, let's say, 2 to 3 years. I say 3 years because obviously I was in a 3-year relationship beforehand. So, yeah, I haven't figured that one out. And like I said, I'm not a relationship guru. I haven't got things right sometimes. So I'm still learning. I would like to be in a position where I'm sat here and I'm in a fantastic relationship and I can give that kind of advice. But yeah, I'm still figuring it out. And I think most people are right now where we are in our age. A lot of people are really ambitious nowadays. They want to get to a certain place. They also want the perfect relationship. And that's not what I'm striving for. I'm striving for someone, as I said, and that's why that quote really resonates. It's someone that might be different as well. I'm different too, and we both love each other, and we both appreciate that.
Do you have a type?
Do I have a type?
Yeah.
What, physically or do you mean in
everything? We can start with physical traits.
I think the biggest thing for me is bro, when am I gonna ask you questions?
You can ask the questions anytime you want.
I'm gonna ask you what off the back of my type. I'd like to know what your type is.
Of course.
But my type, I would say, in terms of physically, the biggest attraction for me is the eyes. That's the biggest attraction.
Yeah,
once the eyes are locked in.
Yeah, you said.
Bro, the eyes, people, the eyes. That's the biggest
Hey, we need to cut that snort out. That was bad.
Oh, if you snort, you snort. Don't get it out. Leave it in. Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
But yeah, the eyes for me is what really captures me initially. And then it's like, it's a weird one because it's gonna sound so harsh, but like the first 3 to 5 seconds of our conversation and what that's like. If it's a hey, how are you and how was your day, then obviously we're not really gonna get anywhere.
It depends how she says it though.
It does, to be fair. That's another thing. Like if there's a bit of an accent there, a bit of a twang, then obviously I might be lost as well.
And those eyes are
and then the eyes are really, really glowing. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm lost now. But no, I think it's more
how are you, Teddy?
I can't tell you. I don't even want to. Sydney, don't do that again, bro. What do you mean, hey, how are you, Teddy, bro? What is that, bro? What is that? What is that?
What's the typical
That's
thing?
not my type.
That's not your type? Yeah, of course not.
What's your type, though?
What's
What's your type? Did I fully answer the question, though, about my type? I feel like I...
No, you were still speaking to it. We touched on the physical traits. You did speak a lot about the personality that you're into. But what else?
Okay, so sorry, I was at the 3 seconds. So the first 3-5 seconds is I think it's important to me as much as it is to whoever I'm speaking to as well. Like if you're not really captured, then everything kind of goes west. But yeah, you just have an initial spark within the first 3-5 seconds. Then everything kind of formulates from there. But it's what I was saying before, the emotional intelligence, the street smarts, the slight bit of just nous. There's like those key ingredients. You can just feel it when you're having a conversation, and you can be in that room and you can be stood there and talking to this person for an hour, 2 hours, and then you're just like, oh shit, where's my boys? Because I've been stood here for a minute. And it's those kind of moments where you're then lost and secretly you just want to walk out of the venue and you just want to go on one of those romantic walks and just enjoy the rest of the city with this person that you're with. That urge is my type. Even though that sounds a little bit like a movie. But anyway, what's your type?
What's my type? Before I get to that, I just want to comment on something that you said. I find that very interesting that, in the very first 3 to 5 seconds, you can kind of figure it out. Malcolm Gladwell made this book called Blink, where it's all about how experts are able to judge like art, like statues or art that's either fake or real in 3 to 5 seconds, and they're not able to describe why, but they just know. They always get it right. And I think that it's also to do with your experience with people. So you're very empathetic. You've got very high emotional intelligence, which allows you to understand people's energy really quickly.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting that you started off by saying that. But now that I've bought myself time to think about my type, I originally went for brunettes. When I
Trying to think about the last female I saw you with, and I'm like, wait, was she brunette? Or like...
I started off pursuing brunettes, and I'm not sure why, but that's changed. That's changed over time. I feel like I've gone through phases.
What do you mean you're not sure why? Brunettes are very beautiful as
They
well.
they are very beautiful. They're very stunning. They are. I mean, I can spend a long time talking about brunettes, but obviously it's more than that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've gone through phases where it just hasn't been about brunettes. You know, I've had my blonde phase, I've had different ethnicities, and you know, at the end of the day, what I've figured out and what I'm still figuring out, that it's not about the shell that we're looking at. And I've obsessed with women's physical appearance for such a long time. And it's only as I've been maturing as a young man, now going into my latter years, still a very young man though.
Do you feel like that's an immaturity thing?
I think it's definitely a maturity thing.
Obsessing over the physical appearance.
Yeah, and I definitely think porn's got to do a lot with it as well.
Yeah. What about social media? Because I'm not gonna lie, that explore page sometimes can look.
I think the social media looks like porn sometimes.
Yeah, the explore page is just it can be a bit. Oh God. Yeah.
You might explore page is brazen.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I can jump on the explore page on certain days, and I'm like,
the algorithm's the devil.
What's going, bro? Bring me back my food and my fitness and the cars, bro. Like, I don't need all of this.
100%. I feel like that too. So, you know, I'm trying to like other stuff. so the algorithm learns about other things that I like in life. But yes, talking about my type and what makes me tick as an individual, I feel like I also get lost in conversations where there is this other layer to a woman when she's talking to me about her ambitions and something that she really, really loves. I know.
Her passion.
Yeah, when I see a woman that's passionate about something, for me, it turns me on. It's like, yo, this person loves this thing so much.
You said it turns me on, bro. I didn't ask you what turns you on.
No, but
we're there now, bro. So that passion turns you on.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. Not in a sexual way, but in a way that makes my light bulb go on.
Okay, yeah. That sounds like
say,
a more...
I'm listening to you now, and I hear you, and I want you to keep telling me more about what you're saying.
Yeah, there's something really sexy about the passion, the ambition, and even the way that they talk about it.
The way they talk about it as well.
For sure.
And then one of the key things that you mentioned earlier, I hold that true as well. I really love a woman who is family orientated, and who my friends also like as well. You know, I want to be able to be at parties, be at family events, and know that my girl's comfortable around my people. And even if she's not comfortable around my people, she knows how to navigate around that energy and not make them feel uncomfortable because she doesn't like them. And I think that's really important as well, because I've had moments in my life where not necessarily the girls haven't been comfortable around my people, but my people haven't necessarily been always comfortable around them. But they're not going to say it around. They're not going to say it to me because of the respect that they have for me, or they don't want to hurt my feelings. So, you know, that's something that I've picked up from the previous relationships I've had. But, you know, if I was to, you know, get real personal and even think about the last one that I had, sometimes I think, what the heck was I doing in terms of making the decision? Because there was nothing wrong in the relationship.
What you miss her?
No, I'm not saying that I miss her, but I'm saying that decision to say I don't want this anymore, I always revisit that decisive moment and think, was that a necessary decision?
So you miss her?
No, so you know that old saying, like the one that got away, I have that moment with.
Yeah, but come on, bro. You just asked me to be honest, bro. She didn't get away, bro. You told her that you weren't happy, bro.
Yeah, it's true.
So let me ask you, why do you think relationships fail?
Why do I think
Mister, I had someone perfect and let her go.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think, for me personally, and then I'll take it back to your question. I think that the reason why my relationship failed was because my vision was warped. I believed that I couldn't see her as my partner for the rest of my life. And whether that is true or not, that's God's plan. But that's what I believed. And that's what made me make that decision.
It's the instinct. The instinct within you made you.
My instincts made me think that. Why do I think relationships fail? For many reasons. One, communication breakdown. People don't understand how to communicate their feelings, and when they do it at the 11th hour. It's too late. When they do it, they start bringing up all these things that was happening for the past year, 2 years. Wow, why didn't you say this earlier? Or why is it that when we're having this massive argument, you're saying something that happened 5 months ago? Why is it that when we're sober and everything's calm, we don't have the freedom to talk about the real problems? And then when things get heated, all of a sudden, you're pissed off that I don't take the bins out every Sunday. And that's pissing you off. I think there's obviously one's communication. The other thing is that people deal with their own problems and don't know how to involve their partners in it. So, for example, one of the things that we've talked about, with our close friends Farouk, is that there are many pillars to a relationship, right? And if I'm not saying I've got an issue, but I'm just using myself as an example.
I want to just pause on your train of thought, because I want to just reiterate what those pillars are, because it was a very powerful thing that you said. And actually, he said it in his, I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying this, but he said it in his wedding speech, that there was specific pillars, 4 pillars of love: family, work, your health, and chosen partner. And then it goes on to
Can you say that one more time, bro?
So there's the 4 pillars of love: family, work, your health, and chosen partner. So I remember when he was breaking it down to me specifically, when I asked him about it, and it was, if your family relationship is going to pot, that then has a knock-on effect on all the other pillars. If your relationship is going to pot, again, it has a knock-on effect on some of the other pillars as well. Work, again, can have a knock-on effect. Your health, one of the biggest things, I think, out of all the pillars, can really have a knock-on effect on all the other pillars. And I thought it was really powerful. And I think there was an even deeper connotation to specific pillars within a relationship and certain key things that you want within a relationship. Pick out, I think it was 3, 4, 5 things out of 10 things that you want within that relationship, and nurture those things, work on those things. And I remember the sweet thing within the speech was that obviously the missus had all those things, which is powerful. But yeah, I just wanted to break down for the people what those pillars were.
No,
So, yeah.
thank you for breaking that down. That was beautiful, and it reminded me what those pillars are because I couldn't remember. Where was I going with it? I was talking about the pillars being out of balance, right? I said obviously communication is one of the reasons why relationships break down, but there's loads of other reasons why. What about the reason why you got in that relationship in the first place? Some people, I'm not calling out any individuals, get into the relationship for the sake of getting in the relationship. And, if I was to, look at myself and the reason why I got in a relationship, my relationship was born from COVID. And, if I wasn't being restricted by the COVID regulations, would I have been in a relationship? I don't know.
But what I will say about COVID though, and your relationship was quite a long time. How long was it again? 3-4 years?
No, it was 2 years. It was good.
2 years. But what I will say about COVID, it was good. It was, and even from outside looking in, it was lovely. Obviously, I know you guys had your arguments and you had your woes, but obviously you figured things out. But what I was going to say about the COVID period, and let's call it COVID relationships, it gave you the opportunity to really learn about each other, to really connect with each other. And obviously, most people wanted to tear each other's hair out, but you guys didn't, if I remember right. You guys were really, she was doing your hair, she was doing your braids, you guys were going on walks together.
You're trying to make me cry.
I'm just saying, I know you miss her, bro. It is what it is.
No, it's true. It's true.
But so I'm just like, I'm painting a picture of even though, yes, there is you don't know whether or not if COVID was there or wasn't. We have to deal with what's in front of us. And all of the positive things that happened within the relationship was also born through COVID. If COVID didn't happen, like you say, yes, you may not have been with her, but also you were with her, which is a beautiful thing if we're just being real. The other question I wanted to ask whilst you were saying what you were saying was, a lot of people tend to talk about how women self-sabotage relationships. Do you think that us men, we also have the tendency to self-sabotage relationships? Because I do feel like not many people talk about that.
Yes.
Not many people talk about the fact that us men, we have our own tendencies to have something that is what you alluded to, that one that got away. Why is that?
Yes. I'm glad you took it there, because I would have never admitted this until you asked that question. One thing that I've thought about by myself when I've been reflecting about my previous relationships, romantically speaking, is that I haven't been able to cross that 2-year threshold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I wonder whether subconsciously I'm self-sabotaging myself.
What? I mean, what? I hadn't realized that, to be honest. That's a new revelation for me, people. So I had to just gather myself and gather my thoughts. So why do you feel like you haven't been able to cross that 2-year threshold? Why do you think you're sabotaging the things that the relationships you've had? I'm trying to picture your relationship. How would you describe the relationships that you've been in? You've spoke about, obviously, your most recent relationships, or the ones previous to that. How would you describe those relationships?
Each relationship has its own personality. So if you were to like personify each relationship, I would give like the the first deep one I had, I'd call it like the hopeless romantic. You know, I went all in. I felt blind. I thought, this person is my ideal partner. I want to become a doctor. She's becoming a doctor. Like, our kids are gonna be like. I was a young boy with a hopeless dream, and you know, she was a brunette. So like, there was boxes there. She's brunette. Yeah. She's brunette. You know, so there was things that were being checked off, which made me believe that this is the one, and I genuinely believed she was the one. So after that relationship, I hadn't been with a woman until I hadn't been. Catch myself. Pause. I hadn't been in a relationship. I hadn't been in a relationship for a very, very long time. And the reason why I hadn't been in a relationship was because I didn't want to hurt someone again. And it was only till I went to uni, and you know, I met someone. We never labeled it, but it was a relationship. It was a relationship. It was a relationship, and completely different. And I would call that one, if I was to personify that relationship, if I was to give that one characteristics, that was a more adventurous. Adventurous. It was more. It made me discover new things about myself.
And like what? Like what? Like what?
I didn't know how open-minded I could be until we started dating. There were certain things that, in terms of my worldview, you know, when we were having conversations about things and introducing me to food and things that I haven't tried before, made me realize that, oh, okay, I can go on this exploration journey with this person. But for obvious reasons, which I don't want to get into the details because it's a bit mad. She wasn't the one either. She wasn't the one either. And then obviously my last one was the one that cut the most deepest. And for that reason, it was because she was my best friend. You know, I, like you said, in COVID, I got very, very close to her. You know, I got to reveal a lot of things that I don't reveal to other people. You know, I got to also learn things about women, which I didn't think I thought I knew everything about women. But I understood more about women after my last relationship that I thought I understood my entire life.
You know, this is so interesting because we haven't had this kind of conversation about our relationships before. I just want to thank you for obviously sharing a lot of that, and a lot of everything you've been saying. Really, I just want to kind of say that each relationship that we go through is so much learning. As much as the conversation started with, we're being real, a bit of negativity, a bit of like, you know, yeah, this relationship, this, that, and the other. But everything you've spoke about just then, when you've been really diving deeper and deeper into the relationships that you've been in, you're being real about the connections that you've had through each relationships that you've had. And as much as people will label this as failures. I do really, really strongly believe that it's not as black and white as that. People come into your lives, mommy says this a lot, people come into your lives for a reason. Sometimes they come to stay, and sometimes, they go, right? And you may never come into contact with them again, or sometimes, mommy does reiterate, God, higher power, whatever people believe in, will bring those people back to you. But what will be, will be. And everything you've just said there is the lessons that you've gone through in each relationship. And obviously, I know that you critique yourself and you critique these lessons, but I just hope that not just you, but people out there as well listening to this podcast really appreciate that maybe sometimes some relationships hasn't gone so well. Some relationships have really cut deep. Some relationships have been really traumatic. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no hope. Because I know one specific person that sticks out at the top of my mind, which is why I'm saying this. It's kind of lost all hope for relationships. And it's more of a, do you know what? I'm just going to be a single man. It's like, don't give up hope. These relationships that you've been in have elevated you to where you are today, which isn't a bad place. Obviously, some people go through really, really bad breakups and they end up spiraling and going downhill and whatnot. And obviously, we don't wish that on anyone. But I think that everything that you've just spoke about and just looking at who you are today as a person and looking at the growth, even in your previous relationship, there was so much love in that relationship. There was so much that I've never seen you do before. And that potentially would have been remnants of the things that you may or may not have had from your previous relationships. The kind of patience that you would have had would have been potentially, again, a remnants of the things that you would have experienced from your previous relationships, as you said. And I don't want to put words in your mouth and I don't want to diagnose you too much, but I can imagine your uni relationship and why you didn't put a label on it was because of the hurt that you would have experienced from the first relationship. So it's like, actually, let's just carry on doing what we're doing. Once uni finishes, we'll cut ties, as opposed to trying to figure things out together, right? So,
yeah, I mean, if I was to speak to that a little bit, without going too much into it, is that she had a lot of ideal qualities that I liked. I could see in a partner, but I just wasn't ready as a man to commit. And that was just the bottom line.
Yeah.
That was just the bottom line. I was 21 years old. I've got my degree. I'm ready for the corporate world. I think I'm about to get good checks in and hey, this is a bachelor's time. I'm not ready to get in a relationship. Stupid.
But that's okay though.
Yeah,
Even though you're saying it's stupid, that's okay. Because some, not just from a male's point of view, it's the same thing from a female's point of view. Sometimes you're just not ready. You don't want to go into a situation when you're just not ready.
But is that self-sabotaging?
Is that self-sabotage? Is that self-sabotage? No, it's just being honest with yourself. But the thing is, it's not just being honest about yourself, it's being honest with your partner as well.
When have you had times when you're not honest with yourself in a relationship?
You just want to sabotage me now.
I mean, you're single, so there's nothing to sabotage.
It's a very valid question. When have I not been honest with myself? I think maybe my second relationship, I definitely knew that it didn't need to go on as long as it went on for. Like I was trying so hard to try and make things work. And if I'm being honest with myself, it got to the point where I was damaging myself. more than, you know, the entire relationship. So I think at that point, yes, as long as it was 3 years, I should have really recognized that things aren't where they should be.
That was a great segue, because I wanted to ask you after that. You took it there anyway. How do you know when enough is enough?
I also I would say I rely on a lot of the people around me, and the people around me were really concerned with the best way to describe it is like a light, almost like the light was dimming. My light, my happiness, my smile, the way that I was around people that I love outside of my relationship. And to a certain extent, even her family could see the same sort of thing. So that should have been a telltale sign. But again, it's kind of, nobody wants a relationship to fail. So you're just really trying to shovel the dirt and trying to make things work and really trying to grind through it. But ultimately, you know, I think that's just a fear of walking away from someone that you've developed a friendship with, a love, you know, all the things that you get within a relationship. You don't want to lose that. It's almost like 2-3 years. Oh my God, it's like wasted time. But you just don't see it that way, because at the end of the day, with a certain level of maturity, you two can still be best friends. You two can still be friends, but you just part ways. I'm not gonna lie, I've only had that with one person. But outside of that,
then where you two just part ways?
Where we part ways and we're still friends. We're still good.
Yeah,
we're still happy birthday.
Yeah.
Hope you're well. How's the family? Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Why is it?
Why
only
is it
one
that you're
person?
able to have that with that person, but with the others it's a little bit more?
I'll be honest,
complex.
bro. That's completely out of my control.
Mm.
Bro, you know my favorite saying, you don't worry about things you can't control. It's completely out of my control. I would have loved to still have that kind of relationship, more so with my ex. Out of my control. My first ever girlfriend, I still have that kind of thing. I mean, I bumped into her mum and sister on the street, and it was really cordial. There was no animosity. And as I say, same thing with messaging. Every now and again, she's got a beautiful daughter. She's got a lovely husband. So it's not. I feel like with a certain level of, I don't really want to call it maturity. I don't know the word for it, because maturity seems kind of like an insult, but it's more like just an appreciation for each other and the things that you went through together. I'm not a believer in blocking people. I'm not a believer in that whatsoever. You know that. I block obviously trolls and whatnot, because sometimes it gets a little bit too much. But when it comes to people that have actually come to your life, you've experienced certain things, why would you block that person?
What I found very interesting about what you said was that I know you as a person, so it's okay. You know, you can have conversations with that ex that you're relating to, and it's being completely cordial. But in the real world, and how most people experience life, is that we are uncomfortable with someone speaking to their ex when we're in a relationship with that person. So, for example,
why though?
So I'm gonna paint the picture. So let's say I have another lovely brunette, or lovely blonde, lovely ginger, or lovely whoever you want to call it. If I'm in a relationship and the person I'm in a relationship with is speaking to her ex, that might make me feel nervous.
Why would that make you feel nervous? Is that insecurity?
I mean, why are you talking to your ex though?
Why not?
You. So I'm running through the role play with you.
It depends on. Okay,
I'm running through the role play
So
with
what,
you.
I'm the woman. Is that what you're saying? Oh, in fact, actually, we're gender neutral, right?
We're gender
okay,
neutral.
It doesn't matter who I am.
It's just,
But yeah,
were they,
who, he, her.
you, her, he, she. Why do you want to still talk to your ex?
Because there was, he was my friend.
No, I'm your friend now. Yeah.
No,
you
bro.
don't need.
No, it's not as black. This is the thing. It's not as black and white as that. Like it's, bro. Like for me personally, that specific ex who every now and again, there's just the cordial message. There's imagine bumping into your ex who you've been with for 2-3 years on the street and just walking straight past that person like you never had a 2-3 year relationship. Actually, I'll put it to you like this. Take you out the picture, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But you were in a relationship with me, God forbid. Imagine mommy walks past your ex and mommy goes to say hello to your ex. Would you not want that conversation to be cordial? Because at the end of the day, mommy shouldn't be punished for the fact that the relationship was like this. And at some point, because of whatever thing that we don't have working out.
I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool with is, why is my girl speaking to her ex? Obviously, I don't have a girl. We're talking about hypothetical situations.
Okay, so is it more of a communication thing? What if your girl was like, oh, Sidney messaged me and said, happy birthday?
I'll say, fuck Sidney.
And do you know what? The thing is, that stance is 100% is each of their own.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
But I need to explain myself a little bit.
Because I'm fine.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not cool with it. Because this is how I would think.
Yeah.
As a man, if I'm no longer in a relationship with a woman who I still like in some capacity, and I still see myself with her for X, Y, and Z reasons, but we're not with each other now because she has decided that she doesn't want to be with me, or for whatever reason, it just couldn't happen. But we're still in talking terms, and I see her with another man, and I'm like, I can still get her. And there's this thought in my mind where there's this belief that I can still be with this woman if I really try. So happy birthday is the first foot in the door. And once she replies happy birthday, it's like, how did you celebrate? So I'm thinking about how a man would think. And I'm asking her, why are you speaking to your ex? Because I know your ex is speaking to you for good reasons.
Okay, what if they're both in a happy relationship, married, and it's just completely cordial?
So stay happy and cordial.
We just don't speak to each other.
Don't speak.
Yeah. No, bro. I personally don't agree with that. Do you know the only point that I really would be like, no, is if the guy was abusive or she was abusive. That's the only point where I'd be like, no. At that point, I'd be like, why would you talk to someone like that? If they had because some relationships, you've got to remember, and we know some relationships like this, sadly, but there's some relationships where they've ended, they haven't had sex for ages, they haven't been intimate for a minute, they ended up ending 6 to 9 months, and 6 to 9 months, sorry, and they hadn't touched each other for a minute, maybe kissed each other or whatever, but that intimacy had gone. Like, would you still be like, no, don't talk to your ex?
Am I her therapist or am I her?
No, I'm just asking you.
No,
would
if
you
I'm her-
in those circumstances?
In those circumstances, it depends, right? First, I'd say to her, why are you in a relationship with a man that's not touching you? Cut that off.
No, but obviously you're in a relationship with the girl, so obviously she's bloody.
Bro, if I'm not making my woman happy, the expectation is another man wants to, right? So if she tells me that she's speaking to her ex, I'm still gonna be vexed.
No, but you're the man though. That's what.
Yeah,
I'm
no, but
getting at.
even as the man though, I'm still gonna be vexed.
If she's okay, so let me just get to the bottom of something. So is your girlfriend allowed to talk to other men?
Of course.
What the fuck? But just not the ex.
Look, I've had. Listen. My hypothetical woman, right?
Yeah.
She might be in a working environment where she has male friends, yeah. And I'm not going to stop her from.
It has to be a working environment. Yeah.
I'm not going to stop her from working and also socializing with men when she goes out in a working setting. Also, if she's had male friends before she met me, and those male friends have never ever crossed boundaries of, oh, I've kissed him on this night out and he's kissed me on. No. Just
No, I definitely I can subscribe to that.
Yeah,
to be fair.
but if she's had male friends who have, even that I'm very suspicious of, because there's some guys who want to play best friends until that moment arises where they can jump in. So I also need to do my due diligence on who is this man? Who is this man? Yeah. So that's my start. That's my stance on it, bro.
No, I understand that. On that note, bro, I want to ask you, what are you grateful for?
What
bro?
am I grateful for, man? I'm grateful for good women. There's good women in my life. I've got my mom, I've got my sister, I've got my grandma. My mom sent me a picture last night. She went to Cape Verde, went to see the family, also went to scope properties to see, okay, whether we get a nice new family home. And she sent me a picture of our grandma, 92 years of age, just after climbing up a hill and looking well, fit and healthy. And a lot of our young years were spent with our grandma looking after us. And, you know, when I see that lineage from grandma to mommy to our little ones, it makes me feel that love.
Yeah.
That, you know, we started off with.
Yeah.
That quote. And that's why I'm really grateful of the women in our lives now and the one that's going to come in the future. I'm manifesting her. I recently saw the main character from How I Met Your Mother just got married.
Oh, you devastated with that one because I know you love that one. And
No, I was happy for him because I was like, if he can. I was devastated. I'm not going to get into that. But yes, yeah. I believe in love. I believe it's possible, and I'm really grateful for the women that have shown me love in my life, and I've shown love to them, and I want to get better at doing it. What are you grateful for, bro? I'm gonna jump on your train. I'm very grateful for the feminine energy that we grew up around, especially because obviously we lost daddy at a very young age, but we still grew up around, you know, the women that took his place to a certain extent. So grandma, mommy, even some of our aunties, who kind of stepped in. So like that energy is why I feel like in most circumstances I've always been patient. I've always understood empathy, and I think that might be partly why I'm also a romantic. So I'm super grateful for mommy. I'm super grateful for grandma, who I think at a later date will probably talk a lot more about the influence that we had from mommy and grandma. But I want to close this podcast and say thank you guys for obviously tuning in. I hope you've got as much gems as possible from today's
chat. We found out a lot about Sidney.
Please only remember the good part. Remember to subscribe.
Yes,
and like,
please remember to
and
subscribe.
join us in the next one.
Yes, of course. And also, please do not forget, give us your quotes, your acts of gratitude, whatever you're feeling grateful for at the moment. We would love to share that at some stage. And again, tune in soon. Thank you very much.